January 9th, 2045. 0347 hours. USS Columbia SSN 771. 200 meters depth, 40 nautical miles north of Oahu. Water doesn't make sound the way people think. It carries sound, amplifies it, bends it through thermal layers and salinity gradients, turns the ocean into a lens that reveals or conceals, depending on depth and temperature, and 1,000 variables submariners learn to read. Right now, the water's hiding something. Captain Cole Harris. 43 days since Houston finished initial recovery. They pulled me from reconstruction oversight. Said submarine command needs someone who understands modern warfare's cost, someone who's made impossible choices, someone who carries weight and functions anyway. Said silent service needs a captain who knows that fighting isn't always visible. The Columbia is a Virginia-class fast-attack submarine, 115 meters long, 34 feet diameter, crew of 135. Armed with 12 vertical launch tubes carrying Tomahawk cruise missiles and 4 torpedo tubes loaded with Mark 48 AD Capt torpedoes. Silent, fast, lethal. Designed for exactly this mission: acoustic surveillance in contested waters, tracking hostile submarines operating near American territory, finding threats before they reach launch range of coastal cities, finding them before Houston happens again. My executive officer is Commander May Chen, 38, submarine service for 14 years. Grew up in San Francisco watching the bay. Joined the Navy because she understood that oceans connect everything, that threats approach from water before they reach land, that someone has to patrol the silence. She's at the sonar station reviewing the contact that appeared 18 minutes ago, the acoustic signature that doesn't match any known friendly submarine, the sound profile suggesting advanced propulsion, the thermal signature indicating a vessel operating at depth designed to avoid detection, the threat moving toward Honolulu. Captain, sonar contact bearing 047, range approximately 22 nautical miles, designated Sierra 1. Profile suggests Yasin M-class Russian nuclear attack submarine. Speed 8 knots. Depth 250 meters. Course 175, heading directly toward Oahu. Russian submarine, 22 miles from our position, heading toward Hawaii. Operating in international waters but positioned for strike against American territory. The pattern Houston taught. Submarines approaching coastal targets. Minimal warning time. Launch positions optimized for surprise. The doctrine that works because it exploits gaps between detection and response. How confident is the classification? Chen checks the sonar display, studies the acoustic data, compares frequencies against known signatures. 85% confidence. Propulsion noise matches Yasin M reactor and pump jet. Hull resonance consistent with Russian titanium alloy construction. Some anomalies in the signature suggest possible modifications, but core profile is definitive.
85%. High confidence, but not certain. The margin that matters when classification determines response. When identifying threats correctly means preventing catastrophe, and identifying them incorrectly means starting incidents that escalate. When being right means everything. What modifications?
Unknown, sir. Quieter than standard Yasin M. Acoustic profile suggests enhanced anechoic coating, possibly improved pump jet design. This vessel is operating at significantly reduced noise levels compared to known examples. Sir, this is their newest boat, or they've upgraded their fleet. Quieter than standard. Enhanced stealth. The evolution that defense always faces. Offense adapts. Technology improves. Signatures change. Yesterday's detection capability becomes insufficient for tomorrow's threats. The race that never ends. Time to weapons range of Honolulu. Chen calculates. Factors speed, distance, missile flight time. Builds the timeline from acoustics and mathematics. At current course and speed, Sierra 1 reaches optimal launch position in approximately 6 hours. Caliber cruise missiles from that position would have 7-minute flight time to Pearl Harbor, minimal warning warning for short offenses. 6 hours, 7 minutes. The mathematics of insufficient warning. The timeline that makes defense difficult. The window that Houston proved exploits detection to engagement gaps. The pattern, repeating. I study the tactical display. Sierra 1's course drawn in red. Columbia's position in blue. The geometry of hunter and hunted. 22-mile separation. Both submarines submerged. Both operating in silence. Both aware that detection means advantage, and remaining undetected means survival. Both calculating who finds whom first. Do they know we're here? Unknown, sir. We've maintained strict emissions control. No active sonar, no communications. Running silent since we detected them. But Yasin M carries Urtish sonar system, very capable. If they're listening carefully, they might have our signature. Might have our signature. The uncertainty that defines submarine warfare. Sound propagates unpredictably. Thermal layers bend acoustic paths. Ocean noise masks or reveals. Two submarines can pass within miles and never detect each other, or one can hear the other from 50 miles depending on conditions, depending on skill and luck and physics. Alert status. Crew at battle stations. Torpedo tubes 1 and 2 flooded and ready. Weapons hot. Fire control solution tracking Sierra 1, awaiting engagement authorization. Engagement authorization. The permission to fire. The order that starts combat. The decision that means tubes launch torpedoes and the ocean becomes battlefield and silence becomes violence. The choice I'm not authorized to make without confirmation of hostile intent.
ROE status? Rules of engagement. The legal and tactical framework determining when force is authorized. The guidelines that protect against accidents while enabling defense. The structure that makes warfare systematic instead of arbitrary. Chen pulls up the brief, reads the authorization carefully. Sierra 1 is in international waters. No hostile action observed. Current ROE requires confirmed hostile intent before engagement. Approaching launch range constitutes preparation but not intent. Sir, we cannot fire first. Cannot fire first. The restriction that favors offense, that gives advantage to whoever shoots initially, that makes defense reactive instead of preemptive. The rule that protects against escalation while creating vulnerability. The constraint Houston taught might cost cities. So we wait until they launch, until they demonstrate hostile intent through action. Yes, sir. We shadow them, we attract them, we maintain firing solution, but we cannot engage until they commit to attack. Shadow them, track them, wait for them to fire first. The doctrine that makes strategic sense and tactical vulnerability, that prevents accidental escalation and enables successful strikes, that protects international law and costs American lives, that makes me watch while a Russian submarine approaches Honolulu. My hands are steady, voice calm, the professional demeanor that command requires, but under the surface I'm calculating. 22 miles, 6 hours, 7 minutes warning. Mathematics that mean if they launch, shore defenses have limited time to respond. That mean cruise missiles might reach targets before interception. That mean Honolulu might learn what Houston learned. Maintain trail position, 20,000 yards, stay quiet. If they turn toward us, we evade. If they launch, we engage immediately. Otherwise, we track and report. Aye, Captain. Maintain trail, 20,000 yards. The Columbia adjusts. Subtle ballast changes, minimal plane angles, moving without noise, following Sierra 1 through the thermal layers, hunting while being hunted. The dance submarines perform, silent and patient and lethal, waiting for someone to make a mistake. The control room is dark, red lights preserve night vision, crew at stations working displays and instruments, voices low and professional. The controlled environment that submarine service demands.
No windows, no external reference, just instruments translating the ocean into data. Just acoustics revealing what eyes can't see. I think about Houston. 4,500 casualties, submarines approaching, minimal warning, missiles launching. The pattern this mission is designed to prevent. The catastrophe that reconnaissance is supposed to stop. The disaster we're watching unfold in real time while ROE says we can't act. My hands are steady, voice calm, the professional demeanor that command requires. But under the surface, I'm calculating. 22 miles, 6 hours, 7 minutes warning. Mathematics that mean if they launch, shore defenses have limited time to respond. That mean cruise missiles might reach targets before interception. That mean Honolulu might learn what Houston learned. Maintain trail position, 20,000 yards, stay quiet. If they turn toward us, we evade. If they launch, we engage immediately, otherwise we track and report. Aye, Captain. Maintain trail, 20,000 yards. The Columbia adjusts. Subtle ballast changes. Minimal plane angles. Moving without noise. Following Sierra 1 through the thermal layers. Hunting while being hunted. The dance submarines perform. Silent, patient, and lethal. Waiting for someone to make a mistake. The control room is dark. Red lights preserve night vision. Crew at stations, working displays and instruments. Voices low and professional. The controlled environment that submarine service demands. No windows, no external reference, just instruments translating the ocean into data. Just acoustics revealing what eyes can't see. I think about Houston. 4,500 casualties, submarines approaching, minimal warning, missiles launching. The pattern this mission is designed to prevent. The catastrophe that reconnaissance is supposed to stop. The disaster we're watching unfold in real time while ROE says we can't act. My phone is secured in my quarters. No Emma calling. No messages. The space she requested becoming permanent distance. The cost of duty compounding. She's in Dallas deciding whether loving someone who makes these choices is survivable. I'm here deciding whether following orders or preventing catastrophe matters more. We're both calculating mathematics that don't balance. Captain, Sierra 1 is adjusting course. New bearing 182. Speed increasing to 12 knots. Sir, they're accelerating toward Honolulu. Accelerating. Moving faster. The change that suggests preparation. That indicates intent forming. That might be normal patrol operations or might be attack positioning. That makes waiting feel like failure. Update firing solution. Maintain trail. Stay quiet. The ocean carries sound in strange ways. Bends it through temperature gradients. Reflects it off the surface. Absorbs it into depth. Creates acoustic shadows where submarines hide. Creates channels where sound travels hundreds of miles. Creates confusion where clarity is survival. Creates the battlefield where silence determines who lives.
0523 AM. Same depth, same darkness. Sierra 1 holds the new course. 12 knots toward Oahu. Deliberate, steady. A submarine with purpose moving toward the Hawaiian Islands like a predator approaching prey. 1 hour 36 minutes since first detection. 18 miles from optimal launch position. 4.5 hours until they reach firing range if this pace continues. 4.5 hours to decide whether following ROE is wisdom or catastrophe. Commander Chen monitors sonar, studies the display, watches Sierra 1's signature evolve as they accelerate, listens to the ocean revealing what the Russian submarine can't hide completely. The price of speed is noise. More propulsion means more sound. More sound means more vulnerability to detection. More vulnerability means we know exactly where they are. Captain, analyzing Sierra 1's acoustic signature at this speed, definitely Yasen M class, but the modifications are significant. This boat is quieter than it should be at 12 knots. Standard Yasen M would be producing twice this noise level. Sir, whatever upgrades they made, they're effective. Effective. The word that means threat evolution. That means Russian submarine technology has advanced. That means our acoustic databases are outdated. That means detection ranges we planned on might be insufficient. That means warfare adapts faster than defense updates. Are they detecting us? Unknown, sir. We're holding 8 knots, staying in their baffles, using thermal layers for masking, standard trail position. But at 12 knots, they're generating wake turbulence that might hide us, or might create acoustic conditions that reveal us. Oceans always uncertain. Oceans always uncertain. The truth every submariner knows. You can calculate and plan and execute perfectly, and physics might betray you anyway. Thermal layers shift, salinity changes, biologics create noise. The environment is active participant, not passive medium. The ocean chooses sides. I study the tactical plot. Columbia trailing Sierra 1 by 20,000 yards, both submarines heading south-southwest toward Oahu. The geometry of pursuit. We're positioned in their acoustic shadow, the blind spot behind every submarine created by hull blocking sonar. But movement creates turbulence, turbulence creates noise. Noise might reveal us. Might turn hunter into hunted. Recommendations. Jen considers. Weighs tactical options against operational risk. The calculation officers make. We could go active, hit them with sonar pulse, get perfect range and bearing, establish definitive firing solution. But active sonar announces our presence, gives away our position. Probably violates ROE since it constitutes hostile action. Active sonar. The pulse that reveals everything. Perfect targeting information in exchange for perfect vulnerability. The trade submarines almost never make. Going active means abandoning stealth, means announcing location, means giving the enemy everything they need to fire back, means starting combat whether you want to or not. Other options? Continue passive trail, wait for them to commit hostile action, report contact to pack fleet, let them decide engagement authorization. Or close range to 10,000 yards, improve firing solution, accept higher risk of counter-detection. 3 options, each with cost. Continue trailing means maintaining status quo while Sierra 1 approaches launch range. Report and wait means delay while chain of command deliberates. Close range means better targeting but higher vulnerability. Means choosing between mission effectiveness and crew safety. Means command. We close to 15,000 yards. Improve firing solution without excessive risk. Prepare data burst transmission to pack fleet. Encrypted, minimal duration. Report contact and request engagement authorization. We send it when Sierra 1 reaches 16 miles from Oahu. Gives them time to respond before launch position is achieved. ICER, close to 15,000 yards. Prepare data burst for transmission at 16-mile mark. Columbia adjusts. Planes angle subtly. Ballast shifts minimally. Speed increases fractionally. Moving closer without noise. Closing the gap while maintaining stealth. The precision submarines require. Where every control input must be calculated. Where excessive speed or sudden plane changes create noise that reveals position. Where perfection is survival. The control room stays quiet. Crew focused on instruments, so and our operator listening through headphones. Fire control updating targeting data. Navigation tracking position. Everyone performing their role in the silent choreography submarines execute. Everyone understanding that mistakes cost lives. My mind drifts to Houston, the city rebuilding, refineries gradually repairing, port facilities slowly recovering, 4,500 families still grieving, Emma still processing. The aftermath that continues while I'm here tracking a Russian submarine that might be planning to make Honolulu learn the same lesson, planning to make more families grieve. Captain, sonar contact, bearing 0903, ranged 42,000 yards, designating Sierra 2. Acoustic signature suggests another submarine, classification uncertain, need more time to analyze. Another submarine, 42,000 yards northeast. Different bearing than Sierra 1. Different signature. Second contact in waters that should be quiet. Second threat in an ocean that suddenly feels crowded. Second variable in mathematics that were already complex. Sierra 2's course, the
The sonar operator concentrates, filters noise, isolates the new contact's bearing rate. Bearing rate suggests southerly course, possibly converging with Sierra 1. Sir, this might be coordinated. Coordinated. 2 submarines operating in proximity. Not coincidence, tactics. Not accident, doctrine. The pattern naval warfare uses. Multiple assets, coordinated timing, distributed threat that overwhelms defenses. The evolution Houston represented on larger scale. Chen studies the tactical plot. 2 contacts now. Sierra 1 heading toward Oahu at 12 knots. Sierra 2 northeast. Course unknown, range 42,000 yards. Columbia positioned between them. Geometry suddenly complicated. Threat suddenly doubled. Mission suddenly impossible. Analysis. If Sierra 2 is converging with Sierra 1, they might be planning simultaneous launch. 2 submarines, 2 firing positions, double the missiles. Shore defenses would have to split response. More likely, some missiles get through. Sir, this might be Houston Doctrine applied to Hawaii. Houston Doctrine. Attack from multiple axes. Overwhelm defenses through volume. Accept losses to achieve penetration. The strategy that cost 4,500 casualties. The tactics that proved American defenses are insufficient when offense coordinates properly. The approach Russia is perfecting. Can we engage both? Not simultaneously. We have firing solution on Sierra 1. Would need several minutes to develop solution on Sierra 2. During that time, Sierra 1 could detect our launch and fire back, or Sierra 2 could detect us and engage. Sir, we're outnumbered. Outnumbered, the word that defines this war. Defense always outnumbered. Offense always able to choose time and place and force. Submarines operating in pairs while we patrol alone. Mathematics that favor the enemy. Geometry that creates vulnerability. Reality that makes prevention impossible. Time to launch position? Chen recalculates with 2 contacts, factors convergence, estimates coordination timing. If they're synchronized, they'll reach optimal firing positions simultaneously in approximately 4 hours. Sierra 1 from southwest, Sierra 2 from northeast. Crossfire launch geometry, Honolulu in the middle. 4 hours, 2 submarines, coordinated strike. The scenario defense plans against and can't prevent. The attack profile that succeeds because no single defender can engage multiple threats simultaneously. The doctrine that works because it exploits fundamental limitations. The reality that makes this mission impossible to succeed at. I study both contacts, think through options, calculate outcomes. Every path leads somewhere I don't want to go. Engage Sierra 1 and Sierra 2 proceeds unopposed. Engage Sierra 2 and Sierra 1 launches. Report and wait, and both might fire before authorization arrives. Do nothing, and Honolulu learns what Houston taught. Every choice costs something. Every option guarantees partial failure. Every decision means accepting casualties somewhere. Command means choosing which disaster happens. Pac Fleet needs to know now. Prepare data burst, include both contacts, full tactical picture, estimated launch timeline, request immediate engagement authorization and additional assets to intercept Sierra 2. The Columbia's communication system powers up, encrypts the message, compresses the data, prepares transmission that will last less than 2 seconds, short enough to minimize detection probability, long enough to convey everything Pac Fleet needs to understand the threat, long enough to ask permission to start combat. Message ready, sir. Awaiting transmission authorization. Authorization to send a message, requesting authorization to fight. The layers of command structure, the chain that protects against hasty decisions and creates delay that might cost cities. The system that worked when warfare was slower, that struggles now when attacks happen faster than communication cycles, that makes me wonder whether following procedures helps or hurts.
Wait until we reach 15,000 yards from Sierra 1. Better firing solution before we announce presence with transmission. Aye, sir. Standing by. Columbia continues closing. Range to Sierra 1 decreasing. 14,800 yards. 14,600. 14,400. Counting down in increments measured by sonar, moving closer to a submarine that might detect us. Approaching firing range while staying hidden, gambling that silence holds. The ocean noise masks us. Biological sounds, distant shipping, thermal layer acoustic effects, the chaos that submarines use for concealment, the environment that hides or reveals depending on countless variables no one fully controls. The uncertainty we live in. 1,500 yards, sir. Transmit data burst. All information, both contacts, request engagement authorization. Transmitting now. The burst lasts 1.7 seconds. Compressed data racing through ocean to Pac Fleet satellite receiver. Encrypted message carrying tactical intelligence and request for permission. Communication that might be intercepted. Transmission that might reveal our presence. Message that makes our presence known while asking permission to fight. Then silence. Then waiting. Then the mathematics of response time. How long for Pac Fleet to receive? How long to decrypt and analyze? How long to deliberate and authorize? How long for confirmation to route back to Columbia? Minutes at minimum, maybe hours. Time that Sierra 1 and Sierra 2 used to close on Honolulu. Time that might make authorization irrelevant because missiles launch first.
Transmission complete, sir. Awaiting response.
Awaiting response, the phrase that summarizes submarine service. Waiting underwater while decisions happen elsewhere. Operating in silence while command structures deliberate. Fighting alone while bureaucracy processes requests. The isolation that makes command feel impossible even when you're surrounded by crew. The solitude that comes from having responsibility without authority.
0647 hours. Combat. 1 hour 24 minutes since data burst transmitted. No response from Pac Fleet. Sierra 1 continues toward Oahu, now 12 miles from optimal launch position. Sierra 2's course confirmed, converging on coordinated attack geometry. Both submarines maintaining 12 knots. Both approaching firing range. Both operating as if they know they're undetected. Commander Chen monitors communications, watching for burst transmission acknowledging our message, waiting for engagement authorization that should have arrived, understanding that silence means either Pac Fleet is deliberating or our transmission never reached them. Either way, Columbia remains without orders while threat continues. Either way, time is expiring. Captain, still no response. Should we retransmit? Retransmit means another brief exposure, another moment of vulnerability, another chance Sierra 1 or Sierra 2 detects us. But it also means ensuring Pac Fleet receive tactical intelligence, means confirming they understand the threat, means maybe getting authorization before it's too late, means gambling again on communication versus concealment. Negative. 1 burst is already risk. 2 bursts doubles probability of detection. Pac Fleet received it or they didn't. We proceed assuming they're processing. Aye, sir. The tactical display updates. Sierra 1 at 11 miles from launch position. Sierra 2 converging from northeast. Columbia maintaining trail position on Sierra 1. Geometry crystallizing. Timeline compressing. 3 hours until coordinated launch if current courses hold. 3 hours to get authorization that might never come. I think about ROE. Rules that exist for good reason. Prevent accidental escalation. Protect against misidentification. Ensure command authority over combat decisions. Structure that makes strategic sense even when tactical situation feels urgent. Framework that prevents captains from starting wars accidentally. Framework that also might prevent captains from stopping them.
Chen approaches, speaks quietly, the XO understanding what I'm calculating. Sir, if authorization doesn't arrive before they reach launch position, what's our action?
What's our action? The question that defines this moment. Do we engage without authorization? Do we fire first based on assessment of intent? Do we start combat to prevent attack? Or do we wait for confirmation, even if waiting means missiles launch? Do we follow orders or prevent catastrophe? We follow ROE until they demonstrate hostile intent through action. If they launch, we engage immediately. If they don't launch but reach firing position, we assess. Assess. The word that means I don't know. That means the situation might demand judgment beyond my authority. That means command sometimes requires making decisions that orders don't cover. That means duty sometimes conflicts with regulations. That means I might have to choose. Chen nods, understanding maybe, or just accepting. The recognition that submarines operate in isolation, that communications are uncertain, that captains sometimes face situations no briefing covered, that command means carrying decisions no one else can make, that this might be one of those moments. Sonar contact, bearing 275, range 60,000 yards, designating Sierra 3, acoustic signature consistent with another submarine. Sir, there are 3 of them now. 3 submarines. The tactical picture expanding. Not 2 coordinated threats, 3. The geometry becoming complex. Coverage area expanding. Defense requirements multiplying. 1 American submarine tracking 3 Russian ones. Mathematics that don't work. Mission parameters that can't succeed. Reality that makes prevention impossible. Sierra 3's course? Unknown yet. Need more time to establish bearing rate. But sir, 3 submarines operating in this area isn't coincidence. This is coordinated. This is planned. This is an operation. An operation. Not patrol, attack. Not reconnaissance, strike preparation. Multiple submarines converging on Hawaiian Islands. Tactical coordination suggesting command structure. The pattern indicating this isn't random. This is doctrine. This is Houston replicated with submarines instead of cruise missiles. I study the plot. 3 red symbols now. Sierra 1, Sierra 2, Sierra 3. All within 60,000 yards. All potentially hostile. All capable of launching coordinated strike that overwhelms Pearl Harbor's defenses. All representing threats I can't engage simultaneously. Captain, if all 3 launch coordinated strike, how many missiles are we facing? The weapons officer calculates, runs the numbers, builds worst case from known capabilities. Yasin M class carries 40 calibered cruise missiles in vertical launch tubes. 3 submarines means 120 missiles potential. Even if they only use half loadouts, that's 60 missiles incoming. Pearl Harbor's defenses would have to intercept near perfect rate to prevent catastrophic damage. 120 missiles. 60 minimum. Numbers that Houston proved are impossible to stop completely. Intercept rates that defense achieves never reach 100%. Mathematics that guarantees some missiles penetrate. Geometry that ensures casualties. Doctrine that works because it accepts losses to achieve objectives. How many would get through?
Unknown, sir. Depends on launch geometry, defense response time, intercept probability. But historically, we achieve 50 to 60% intercept rates against coordinated saturation attacks. That means 20 to 30 missiles reach targets. At 1,000 pounds high explosive each, we're looking at damage comparable to Houston. Maybe worse, because Pearl Harbor concentrates military and civilian infrastructure. 20 to 30 missiles. Damage comparable to Houston. 4,000 to 6,000 casualties estimated. The mathematics of insufficient defense. The reality that fighting reduces damage but doesn't prevent it. The truth that resistance matters but isn't sufficient. The calculation that makes me wonder whether anything I do changes outcomes. Pack fleet still silent. No authorization received. Still silent. Either deliberating or didn't receive our message. Either processing request or unaware of threat. Either preparing response or leaving us alone. The uncertainty the submarine service creates. The isolation that makes command feel impossible.
The reality that I might have to decide without orders. Time passes. Minutes feeling like hours. Crew maintaining station, tracking 3 contacts, updating firing solutions, preparing weapons, everyone performing their duties while waiting for authorization that might not come. Everyone understanding the timeline is compressing, that launch windows are approaching, that decision point is arriving, that something has to happen soon. Captain, Sierra 1 is slowing, speed decreasing to 6 knots. Sir, they're approaching hover. That's pre-launch maneuvering. Pre-launch maneuvering. The pattern submarines execute before firing. Slow speed for stable platform. Minimize motion for targeting accuracy. Prepare launch systems. The protocol that indicates intent. The procedure that suggests attack is imminent. The action that might constitute hostile intent under ROE. Sierra 2 is also slowing, matching Sierra 1's deceleration. Sir, they're coordinating, both slowing simultaneously. Coordinated timing, tactical synchronization, not coincidence, execution. The procedure that confirms this is planned strike, that proves hostile intent, that demonstrates these submarines are preparing to launch, that maybe gives me authority to engage. Fire control confirms solutions on both Sierra 1 and Sierra 2. Solutions confirmed, Captain. Sierra 1 at 15,000 yards bearing 047, Sierra 2 at 38,000 yards bearing 091. Both solutions high confidence, weapons ready. High confidence. Both submarines targeted, torpedoes ready to launch, everything prepared, just waiting for authorization. We're waiting for them to fire first. Waiting for me to decide that waiting costs Honolulu. Waiting for command. Chen stands beside me, silent. Understanding what's happening, knowing that ROE says wait for hostile action, knowing that waiting might mean Pearl Harbor burns, knowing that engaging without authorization might mean court-martial, knowing that command means carrying weight regardless of choice, knowing that I'm alone in this decision. Sierra 1 missile tubes are flooding, acoustic signature consistent with launch preparation. Captain, they're about to fire. About to fire. The confirmation I needed. The hostile intent demonstrated, the action that justifies response under ROE, the authorization that comes from their behavior instead of PAC fleet, the permission that makes this my decision. But 3 submarines, 2 solutions, 1 American boat. Can't engage all threats, can't prevent all launches, can only fight what I can target, can only stop part of the attack, can only reduce catastrophe, not prevent it. Can only do what 1 submarine alone can accomplish, which isn't enough. Never enough. But it's what there is. Fire control, prepare to engage Sierra 1 and Sierra 2 in sequence. Tube 1 targets Sierra 1, Tube 2 targets Sierra 2. Launch authorization. I pause. This is the moment. The decision. The choice. That starts combat. That launches torpedoes. That begins engagement. That makes me responsible for what follows. That makes this war personal instead of abstract. Launch authorization granted. Fire when ready. Aye, sir. Firing Tube 1. The first torpedo launches. Pressurized water ejection. Weapon leaving tube. Motor start delayed until clear of submarine. Then propulsion. Then hunting. Mark 48 ADCAP seeking Sierra 1. Wire guided until terminal phase. 6,500 yards maximum range, speed 40 knots. Time to target approximately 6 minutes. 6 minutes until Sierra 1 knows we're here. 6 minutes until they fire back. 6 minutes until the ocean becomes battlefield. Tube 1 fired, running true. Firing Tube 2. Second launch. Same procedure. Targeting Sierra 2. Greater range, longer flight time. Weapon hunting through thermal layers, poured contact 38,000 yards away. Both torpedoes running, both submarines targeted, both threats engaged, both knowing now that Columbia is here. Tube 2 fired, running true. The tactical display updates, 2 green lines extending from Columbia toward targets. Torpedoes in water, tracks showing predicted paths, intercept points calculated. Time to impact counting down. The visualization making combat systematic, making violence geometric.
making killing mathematical, making war look clean when it's not. Captain, Sierra 1 is responding, launching countermeasures, increasing speed, evading. Sir, they've detected the torpedo. Evading, running. The response every submarine makes when torpedo is detected. Deploy acoustic decoys, increase speed, turn hard, create noise that confuses weapon guidance, do everything possible to survive.
Hope physics and tactics favor you. Sierra 2 launching countermeasures, also evading, both contacts taking defensive action, both running, both trying to survive, both submarines suddenly vulnerable, the hunter becoming hunted, the threat becoming target, the geometry reversing, the advantage shifting, the ocean becoming chaos. Time to Sierra 3 launching? Unknown, sir. We don't have good course data on Sierra 3 yet. Could be minutes, could be they're not in launch position. But sir, they know we're here now. They heard our torpedoes. They know Columbia is engaging their partners. They know. Our presence revealed, stealth gone. The advantage submarines need most, surprise eliminated. Now we're exposed. Now we're vulnerable. Now Sierra 3 knows where we are. Now they can target us. Now we become the threatened. Reload tubes 1 and 2. Prepare for counterfire. Sierra 3 becomes priority target if they maneuver toward us. Aye, sir. Reloading tubes, designating Sierra 3 priority. The control room feels different now. Combat initiated. Torpedoes running. Threats evading. Everything moving fast. Crew responding to changing situation. The transition from surveillance to engagement. From waiting to fighting. From patience to urgency. From hunting to surviving. I watched the displays. Torpedoes closing on targets, Sierra 1 evading, Sierra 2 maneuvering, Sierra 3 position uncertain, Columbia vulnerable, tubes reloading, everything in motion. The tactical situation fluid, outcomes uncertain, success possible but not guaranteed. Modern warfare in silent waters. This is what resistance looks like underwater. No missiles visible, no explosions heard. Just acoustics and geometry and mathematics. Just instruments translating ocean into tactical data. Just crew executing procedures while danger approaches in silence. Just me carrying the weight of starting combat. Of engaging without complete authorization. Of choosing to fight because waiting meant catastrophe. Of hoping that right.
0734 hours. 47 minutes since tubes fired. Both torpedoes running. Sierra 1 continues evasion. Sierra 2 deploying countermeasures. Range to first torpedo closing, now 8,000 yards. Mark 48 terminal phase approaching. Weapon preparing for final attack sprint. Target maneuvering hard to avoid. Physics and tactics converging. Commander Chen monitors sonar, listening to the battle through acoustic sensors, hearing what can't be seen. The torpedo motor, the countermeasures, the cavitation from Sierra 1's emergency speed increase. The ocean translating violence into sound. Captain, Sierra 1 is deploying another spread of decoys, 5 acoustic emitters. They're good, similar frequency profile to actual submarine. Our torpedo might lose lock. The possibility that weapon acquires wrong target. That physics defeats engineering. That Sierra 1 survives because their countermeasures work. That we fired and achieved nothing except revealing our position. That we started combat and failed anyway. Can we re-guide? Wire's still good. Fire control has track. We can steer weapon toward true target, but there's lag in wire communication. Decoys are creating acoustic confusion. Sir, it's difficult. Difficult. The word that means uncertain. That means maybe our torpedo hits, maybe it doesn't. That means the outcome depends on factors we can't fully control. That means success isn't guaranteed despite doing everything correctly. That means warfare remains uncertain despite technology. Keep the wire, guide it towards Sierra 1. Best effort. Aye, sir. The fire control team works the problem. Tracking actual submarine versus decoys. Using Doppler analysis, shape recognition, propulsion signature matching. Everything sonar technology enables, everything human judgment adds. trying to differentiate target from deception in an environment designed to confuse, trying to make the weapon hit what it's supposed to. Second torpedo approaching Sierra 2, range 32,000 yards. Time to target 4 minutes. Sierra 2 is also deploying countermeasures, but fewer than Sierra 1. They might have depleted their inventory. Sir, this one might connect. Might connect. Better probability. Fewer decoys means less confusion, clearer acoustic picture, higher chance of successful engagement. The mathematics tilting towards success. The geometry favoring Columbia. The hope that one torpedo might work even if the other doesn't. New contact bearing 115, close range, designating Sierra 4. Sir, there's a fourth submarine, range 8,000 yards. They're right on top of us. Fourth submarine, 8,000 yards. Torpedo range, immediate threat. The contact that appeared suddenly because they were quiet, because they were positioned perfectly, because they were waiting. The hunter that became threat. The geometry that reversed. The tactical situation that inverted. The predator that was always behind us. Classification. Unknown, different acoustic signature. Not Yason M, possibly a Kula 2 class. Sir, they're older design, but still dangerous. Weapon systems fully capable. Akula 2, older Russian attack submarine. Less capable than Yason M, but still lethal. Still carrying torpedoes, still able to kill us. The fourth threat in waters that keep revealing enemies. The tactical picture that keeps expanding. The situation that keeps deteriorating. The mathematics that keep getting worse. They're flooding tubes. Captain, Sierra 4 is preparing to fire.
Preparing to fire. Imminent threat. Close range. We're targeted. 8,000 yards means torpedo flight time under 3 minutes. Means minimal time to evade. Means immediate danger. Means Columbia is seconds from being on the receiving end of what we just launched. Means we're about to learn what Sierra 1 is experiencing. Emergency maneuver. Full dive. Increase speed to 20 knots. Deploy countermeasures. Now. Aye, sir. Full dive. 20 knots. Countermeasures away. Columbia responds. Dive planes angle hard down. Ballast adjusts, speed increases. The submarine descending rapidly, dropping toward deeper water, seeking thermal layers that might mask us, deploying acoustic decoys that might confuse incoming weapons. Everything submarines do when torpedoes are inbound. Everything that might work or might not. The deck tilts, steep angle down. Crew gripping consoles, equipment secured but shifting. The physical sensation of emergency dive. The gut understanding that danger is real, that we're running now, that the hunter became prey in seconds, that warfare inverted. Depth 300 meters and increasing, speed 20 knots, countermeasures deployed. Sierra 4 has fired, torpedo in the water, bearing 2905 inbound to our position. Torpedo inbound, Russian weapon hunting Columbia. The reversal complete. We fired at them, they fired at us. Now both sides running, both sides evading, both sides deploying countermeasures, both sides hoping they survive, both sides learning what modern submarine warfare feels like. Time to impact? Estimated 2 minutes 40 seconds at current closure rate. Sir, it's close. 2 minutes 40 seconds. 160 seconds. The time we have to evade. The window for survival. The period where everything matters and nothing is certain. Where skill and luck and physics determine outcomes, where crew training and captain judgment and submarine capability combine or fail, where we find out if resistance survives. Chen's beside me, calm despite the situation, professional despite the threat, the XO understanding that panic helps nothing, that crew looks to leadership, that maintaining composure matters even when torpedo is approaching, that command means steadiness regardless of fear. That this is what we trained for. Sonar, what's Sierra 4 doing? Continuing to close, speed increased to 15 knots. They're pursuing, sir, trying to maintain contact while their weapon runs. They want to ensure the kill. Ensure the kill. Professional tactics, standard procedure. Fire weapon, then maintain pursuit to provide updates if target evades. Keep acoustic contact so if first torpedo fails, second can launch with better data.
The doctrine that successful submarine warfare requires. The persistence that doesn't stop with first shot. Our torpedoes. Status? First weapon tracking Sierra 1. Wire guidance maintaining lock despite countermeasures. Impact estimated 30 seconds. Second weapon approaching Sierra 2. Impact estimated 3 minutes. Sir, we might get them before they get us. Might. The word that defines this moment. Might succeed, might survive, might stop them, might try dying. Everything uncertain, everything contingent, everything depending on factors no one fully controls. Everything happening simultaneously. I watched the tactical display. Blue symbol, Columbia diving and evading. Green lines, our torpedoes tracking towards Sierra 1 and Sierra 2. Red lines, enemy torpedo approaching us. 4 submarines engaged in 3-dimensional combat. Geometry complicated by depth and speed and ocean conditions. Mathematics complicated by countermeasures and evasion and uncertainty. Warfare compressed into acoustic space too small for everyone to survive. Depth 450 meters, approaching crust depth limitations. Sir, we need to level off. Level off or continue diving. The choice between depth advantage and structural safety.
Deeper means harder for torpedo to track, harder to maintain sonar contact, better thermal layer protection, but also means approaching limits, means risking hull integrity, means trading safety for position, means gambling on physics. Level at 500 meters, that's maximum safe depth. Stay there. Aye, sir, leveling at 500 meters. The dive planes adjust, angle moderates. Columbia levels at depth, 500 meters, over 1,600 feet, deeper than most submarines operate, at the edge of safe parameters, where pressure tests haul, where margins are thin, where mistakes cost everything, where we hide from torpedo. Impact on Sierra 1 in 10 seconds. 10 seconds. First engagement result imminent. Either our torpedo hits, or Sierra 1's countermeasures worked. Either we succeed, or they escape. Either we stop one threat, or we revealed position for nothing. Either way, we learn whether Columbia's weapons are effective, whether our tactics work, whether resistance matters, whether this fight was worth starting. The sonar operator listens, headphones pressed close, concentrating on acoustic data. Hearing the weapon track, hearing the target evade, hearing the geometry close, hearing physics and engineering and tactics converge into single moment, hearing what determines if we succeeded. Impact! Sierra 1 hit. I'm hearing breakup noises, hull collapse, explosion. Sir, Sierra 1 is dead. Sierra 1 dead. Torpedo successful. Russian submarine destroyed. One threat eliminated. One engagement won. The first victory in this battle. The confirmation that our weapons work, that our tactics succeeded, that firing was correct, that killing happened. A crew just died. I don't know how many. Standard S&M carries 70 to 90 officers and enlisted. 70 to 90 people who woke up this morning thinking they'd return home. 70 to 90 families who will receive notifications. 70 to 90 names added to this war's count. 70 to 90 casualties I created by ordering fire. No time to process. Torpedo still inbound. 90 seconds. Sierra 4 still pursuing. Second weapon tracking Sierra 2. Combat continuing. Outcome still uncertain. Grief deferred because survival requires focus. Because command demands continuing. Because crew needs captain functional. Because carrying weight happens later. Countermeasures effective? Partially. Incoming torpedo is showing confusion. Speed decreased slightly. Course wavering. Our decoys are creating uncertainty. But, sir, it's still tracking general bearing toward us. It hasn't lost us completely. Still dangerous. Still tracking. Still potentially lethal despite countermeasures. The weapon that won't quit. The threat that persists. The physics
that favor persistence over evasion. The reality that submarines can't outrun torpedoes forever. 60 seconds to impact. 60 seconds. 1 minute. The time remaining. The window for survival. Everything that matters compressed into brief period. Crew at stations. Submarine at depth. Countermeasures deployed. Speed maintained. Everything we can do done. Now just waiting. Now just hoping. Now just existing in the space between life and death while physics decides. Now just enduring. I think about Emma in Dallas deciding whether loving me is survivable. I think about Houston. 4,500 casualties I couldn't prevent. I think about Danny, the son I lost, the weight I carry, the names accumulating. I think about whether adding my name to that list matters, whether Columbia sinking changes anything, whether my death costs something beyond personal loss, whether resistance continues without me. Impact on Sierra 2. Hit confirmed. Another submarine dying, sir. Sierra 2 is gone. Sierra 2 dead. Second engagement successful. 2 threats eliminated. 2 Russian submarines destroyed. 2 crews killed. The count accumulating.
140 to 180 people dead total. Families who will grieve. Names that will matter to someone even if they don't matter to me yet. The cost of combat that defense requires. The casualties that resistance demands. The weight that grows. 40 seconds. 40 seconds. Inbound weapon closing. Still tracking despite countermeasures. Still hunting despite confusion. Still potentially lethal. Physics unwilling to quit. Engineering refusing to fail. Weapon fulfilling its purpose. Hunting submarines until detonation or fuel exhaustion. Until something dies. Chen watches displays. Professional composure maintained. But I see the tension. The way she grips the console. The way she monitors range and time. The way she calculates whether we survive. The XO understanding what I understand. We did everything correctly, and we might die anyway. Understanding that warfare doesn't guarantee survival to those who deserve it. Captain, Sierra 4 is launching again. Second torpedo in the water. They're ensuring the kill. Second torpedo, another weapon, more threat. Sierra 4 committing fully, firing follow-up shot to guarantee success. The doctrine that says 1 weapon might fail, but 2 probably won't. The tactics that work because they accept redundancy cost. The approach that kills submarines. The threat that compounds. Time to second weapon impact. Approximately 3 minutes after first. Sir, if we survive the first, we fight the second. If we don't, Columbia dies. Crew dies. I die. Mission ends. Tactical intelligence lost. 3 Russian submarines dead, but 4th surviving. Honolulu still threatened. Sierra 3 still operational. The outcome where resistance fails, where fighting costs everything and achieves partial success, where duty demands sacrifice that exceeds benefit, where mathematics don't balance even strategically. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. The count continuing, inevitable, and relentless. Time compressing, physics closing, geometry resolving. The moment approaching where torpedo detonates or misses, where Columbia survives or doesn't, where crew continues or ends, where everything we've done matters or becomes irrelevant, where outcomes determine meaning. The control room is silent except for countdown. Everyone understanding, everyone waiting, everyone existing in the space where survival is uncertain, where training and preparation and skill mean nothing if physics favored the weapon, where everything personal, families, hopes, futures, compresses into whether this specific torpedo hits this specific submarine, where everything becomes now. 10 seconds. I don't close my eyes. Command means watching, means witnessing, means experiencing what crew experiences. Can't hide in denial, can't pretend fear doesn't exist, can only stand and wait and exist in the moment and accept that outcomes aren't always controllable.
can only endure 5 seconds. 2, 1, silence. Then sound. Explosion, but distant. Wrong direction, not on us, past us. The weapon missing, passing beneath our depth, detonating where we were instead of where we are. The countermeasures working just enough. The evasion succeeding barely. The margins that separate survival from death measuring in meters and seconds. The luck that sometimes favors submarines. Impact miss. Torpedo detonated deep. We're clear. Columbia is intact. Intact. Surviving. Still functioning. Crew alive. The outcome we needed, the result we hoped for, the survival that feels undeserved but is accepted anyway. The relief that comes with continuing, with existing beyond the moment that should have ended everything, with resistance persisting. Second torpedo inbound. 3 minutes. Another weapon hunting. Sierra 4 still pursuing. Sierra 3 still operational. Honolulu still threatened. Mission incomplete. Combat continuing. Survival temporary because threats remain. Because one weapon missed, but another is coming.
Second torpedo bearing 287, inbound. Time to impact 2 minutes 40 seconds. Maintaining evasion course. 2 minutes 40 seconds. Another countdown. Another wait. Another period where survival is uncertain. The pattern repeating. The cycle continuing. The reality that submarine warfare doesn't end with one weapon. That combat persists. That threats accumulate. That fighting continues until someone stops or everyone dies. That this isn't over. Reload complete. Tubes 1 and 2 ready. We have firing solution on Sierra 4. Firing solution on Sierra 4. The submarine hunting us. The threat launching torpedoes. The enemy trying to kill us. We can fire back. Can engage. Can make them evade. Can turn hunter into hunted. Can reverse geometry again. Can fight instead of just surviving. Can resist. Fire tubes 1 and 2. Target Sierra 4. Make them run. Aye, sir. Firing tubes 1 and 2. Both torpedoes launch. Targeting Sierra 4. The submarine that's been killing us. Now they face what we faced. Now they evade. Now they deploy countermeasures. Now they calculate survival. The engagement reversing again. The roles shifting. The predator becoming prey, becoming predator. The cycle that submarine warfare creates. Both weapons running true. Sierra 4 detecting launch. They're evading. Sir, the breaking off pursuit. Breaking off. Running. Abandoning attack to defend. The response we needed. Their second torpedo loses guidance updates, becomes less effective, has to hunt independently, probably misses because tracking data stops. The outcome we created by fighting back. The survival we earned by engaging. The resistance that matters. 2 minutes to Sierra 4's second weapon impact. Still threatened. Still evading. Still hoping the weapon misses like the first one, but we changed geometry, made them run, degraded their attack, reduced probability they kill us. The tactical victory that might become survival, the engagement that might succeed, the resistance that might matter enough, the fighting that continues. Sierra 4's second torpedo passes wide, detonates harmlessly. Our weapons continue tracking. Sierra 4 running hard, deploying countermeasures, executing emergency maneuvers, experiencing what we experienced, learning what being hunted feels like, learning what resistance costs. Minutes pass, tension holding, both torpedoes closing on Sierra 4. Both our torpedoes hit Sierra 4. Sierra 4 died fast, hull crushed by multiple detonations, crew gone instantly. No time to understand. No time to regret. Just physics ending everything in milliseconds. The mercy that quick death offers. The reality that underwater combat rarely offers suffering. Just existence, then absence. Just being, then nothing. 3 Russian submarines dead. Columbia damaged, but functional. Crew intact. Mission continuing despite casualties. The tactical victory that defense achieved. The engagement that succeeded despite being outnumbered. The resistance that mattered because fighting changed outcomes. The survival that feels like success even though it cost lives.
0851 hours, still at depth, still fighting. 77 minutes since Sierra 4 died. 3 Russian submarines destroyed. Columbia damaged, but functional. Crew surviving. Mission continuing. The tactical victory that came at cost. The engagement that succeeded through violence. The resistance that mattered because it prevented worse. The survival that means carrying weight. Commander Chen reports damage. Minor hull strain from deep dive. Nothing critical, all systems functional, tubes reloaded. Weapons inventory remaining. 6 Mark 48 torpedoes. Sir, we're combat effective. Combat effective. Surviving means continuing. Functioning means fighting. Sierra 3 status. Last known bearing 065, range 58,000 yards. They've been silent during our engagement, likely observing. Sir, they know we're here now. They know we killed 3 submarines. They know. Our capability demonstrated, our lethality proven. What's their most likely action? Chen considers. If I were commanding Sierra 3, I'd withdraw. Mission was coordinated strike. 3 submarines dead means coordination failed. Strategic calculus says abort and survive to fight later. Abort and survive. The logical choice. But we killed 3 submarines. National pride matters. Revenge matters. Captain of Sierra 3 might choose to engage despite tactical disadvantage. Sir, humans aren't always logical. The variable that calculations don't capture. New contact. 065. Sierra 3 is moving. Sir, they're not withdrawing. They're closing. Speed increasing to 15 knots. Course directly toward Oahu. They're continuing the mission. Continuing. Approaching. Committing despite tactical disadvantage. Sierra 3 choosing to fight. Choosing to complete mission despite 3 submarines dead. Choosing duty over survival. Like we do. Range. 52,000 yards in closing. We can intercept in approximately 50 minutes if we pursue at 25 knots. Sir, we can stop them before they launch. Stop them. Engage Sierra 3. Prevent the attack. Complete the mission. Defend Honolulu. Pac Fleet is transmitting. Burst communication incoming. Finally, hours late. Response to our initial message. Chan reads it aloud. Pac Fleet acknowledges contact report. 3 additional assets being deployed to sector. Engagement authorization granted if hostile intent confirmed. Pursue and neutralize remaining threats. Additional support ETA 2 hours. End message. 2 hours. Additional support arriving after this engagement likely ends. Help coming when the fighting might be finished. We don't need authorization anymore. We've already engaged. 3 enemy submarines dead. Sierra 3 is the last threat. We finished this ourselves. Aye, sir. Plotting intercept course. Columbia adjusts. Speed increases to 25 knots. Pursuing Sierra 3. Closing the distance. Hunter mode. Time passes. 50 minutes of reproach. Sierra 3 continues toward Oahu. Unaware that Columbia is behind them. Unaware that death is approaching.
Unaware that resistance is about to succeed. I think about the crew aboard Sierra 3. Don't know their names. Don't know their faces. They're not abstractions. They're people. Sailors like my crew. Officers like Chen. Captain like me. Who die because we're on opposite sides of mathematics that don't care about individuals. But they're approaching Honolulu, carrying cruise missiles, planning to launch, intending to kill thousands. The fact that killing them costs me something doesn't mean I can choose not to. Approaching intercept range. Captain, sonar is detecting unusual activity from Sierra 3. They're slowing, speed decreasing to 8 knots. Sir, they might be preparing to launch early. They might have detected us after all. Detected us. Possible. Time to launch position at their current location? Jen runs the numbers. They're not in optimal position, but they could launch now. Missiles would have reduced effectiveness, but sir, some missiles might still get through. They could kill hundreds, even if not thousands. Hundreds, even if not thousands. Close to firing range, maximum speed. We engage before they can launch. Aye, sir. Increasing to flank speed. Columbia accelerates. 30 knots. The submarine running hard, making noise now. Speed creates sound. Sierra 3 is definitely reacting. They've detected us, Captain. They're taking evasive action, turning hard, increasing speed. Sir, they're running. Not launching. Not fighting. Are they flooding tubes? Negative, sir. No indication of launch preparation. They're purely defensive. Sir, they're trying to escape. Trying to escape. The fourth Russian submarine, choosing differently than the other three. Choosing survival after watching three partners die. The choice that makes killing them harder. Because running means they acknowledge defeat. Means they're choosing not to threaten Honolulu. Means engagement might not be necessary. Means maybe duty doesn't demand this one. Captain, they're transmitting. Burst communication, likely reporting to their command. Sir, they're calling for orders. Calling for orders. The parallel to our situation. The similarity to Columbia's position hours ago. The reminder that they're like us, even though they're against us. Can we intercept the transmission? Negative, sir. Encrypted. But the act of transmitting confirms they're uncertain. They're asking whether to fight or flee. Sir, they're hesitating. Hesitating. The moment where Sierra 3's captain questions what to do, while I question what I should do. Intercept range achieved. We have firing solution. Tubes ready.
Captain, we can engage. Can engage. Permission implicit. Threat identified. Target acquired. Weapons prepared. Everything except the fact that they're running and I'm tired of killing. Are they still heading away from Oahu? Affirmative. Course 040, directly away from Hawaiian Islands. Speed 20 knots. Sir, they're definitely withdrawing. Withdrawing, leaving, aborting. The threat diminishing. The outcome where resistance succeeded without requiring more casualties. Where maybe I don't have to add more names. Chen watches me. Knows that tactically we should fire. That Sierra 3 represents threat that might return. That everything except exhaustion says fire. Captain, recommend we engage. Sierra 3 withdrawing doesn't eliminate threat. They could return when we're gone. Sir, we should finish this. Finish this. Complete the mission. Kill the fourth submarine. The recommendation that tactical thinking supports. The decision that everything except my conscience says is correct. But they're running. They're not attacking. They're choosing survival over mission. They're acknowledging defeat. They're leaving Honolulu alone. They're proving that fighting mattered enough to stop them without killing them. How long until they're out of weapon range? At current courses and speeds, 10 minutes. After that, they're beyond effective torpedo range. Sir, if we're going to engage, we need to decide now. Decide now. Fire or don't fire. Kill or don't kill. Add more weight or accept that some threats escape. The command that defines what kind of officer I am. 3 submarines dead already. 210 to 270 people. Families grieving. Names accumulating. Weight compounding. Adding Sierra 3 makes it worse. Makes the weight heavier. Makes me more of what I don't want to be. But letting them go means risk. Means threat persists. Means they might return. Captain, 5 minutes until they're out of range. Weapons ready, awaiting firing order. 5 minutes. The decision point. I think about Houston. 4,500 casualties. The reality that sometimes letting threats persist costs lives. But I also think about Emma. About carrying weight. About accumulating names. About whether adding more casualties helps anything. Captain, 2 minutes. They're about to escape weapon range. Sir, we need your order. 2 minutes. Ultimate decision. 3 submarines dead. Honolulu defended. Mission accomplished. Attack prevented. Resistance succeeded. Sierra 3 running. Maybe that's enough. Maybe letting one submarine escape doesn't compromise everything. Maybe knowing when to stop killing is part of being good at fighting. Belay firing order. Let them go. Sierra 3 is leaving.
Mission accomplished. We defended Honolulu. 3 submarines destroyed. That's sufficient. Silence in control room. Crew processing. Understanding that Captain chose not to engage. That enemy escaped. That mercy was selected. That maybe resistance doesn't require killing everyone who threatens. Chen studies me. Nods slowly. Aye, sir. Standing down weapons. Sierra 3 departing the area. Threat level reduced to minimal. Minimal. Not eliminated, just minimal. The reality that accepting partial success means accepting continuing risk. That resisting sometimes means knowing when enough is enough. Send burst transmission to Pack Fleet. 3 hostile submarines destroyed. 4th submarine withdrew and departed operational area. Honolulu secure. No remaining immediate threats. Columbia damaged, but functional. Returning to Pearl Harbor for repairs. Harris sends. The message transmits, informing command that mission succeeded differently than expected, demonstrating that resistance worked without requiring total elimination, showing that maybe there are alternatives to killing everyone. Silence returns. Combat finished. Threats departed. Crews surviving. Mission accomplished through combination of fighting and restraint. The truth that command sometimes means choosing not to act. I stand in control room. 3 submarine crews dead. 210 to 270 names. 1 submarine crew spared. 70 to 90 people who live because I chose mercy. The weight slightly less than it could have been. That has to mean something. Captain, Pack Fleet responding. Chen decodes. Admiral Chand acknowledges tactical report, commends successful defense of Pearl Harbor, notes departure of 4th hostile submarine. Columbia cleared to return to Pearl Harbor. Well done. Well done. The praise that accompanies killing. The validation that measures effectiveness in enemies destroyed and civilians saved. But 3 submarines dead. Honolulu defended. Attack prevented. Thousands of lives saved. Mission accomplished. The result that has to justify the wait. Sit course for Pearl Harbor. Surface when clear. Let's go home. Aye, sir. Course for Pearl Harbor. Columbia turns, heading toward Hawaii, toward port, toward repair, toward rest. Submarine leaving battlefield, leaving depths where 3 crews died and 1 escaped. The ascent begins, rising from combat depth, approaching surface, leaving darkness, moving toward light, the movement that enables carrying weight forward. I think about the names, the crews aboard Sierra 1, Sierra 2, and Sierra 4, the peoples whose deaths I ordered, the weight that resistance created. But I also think about Sierra 3, the submarine that escaped, the crew that lives, the people who continue because I chose mercy, the moment where duty allowed humanity. Or maybe I'm still human despite everything.
Both matter. Both are true. Both define what happened here. Columbia breaks surface. Hatches open. Fresh air enters. Crew breathes daylight. The respite that makes continuing bearable. I climb to bridge. Stand in open air. Feel wind on face. Taste salt. See horizon. The reminder that this isn't everything, even when it feels like everything. Hawaii visible ahead, the islands we defended, the population we saved, the thousands who live because we fought, the reason resistance matters. Commander Chan joins me on bridge, stands quiet, watches Hawaii approach. We did what we had to do, Captain. 3 submarines destroyed, attack prevented, thousands of lives saved. That matters. I know. Does it help? Does it help? Some. Not enough, but some. The 4th submarine, letting them go, was that correct? Was it correct? Tactically questionable, operationally debatable, strategically uncertain, but humanly necessary. The choice that says there are limits, that duty doesn't demand everything. I don't know. Ask me in a year. Ask me if Sierra 3 came back.
Ask me if showing mercy cost lives later. Ask me when I know whether that choice was wisdom or weakness. But you'd make it again? Would I make it again? Yes, because the alternative is becoming someone who kills everyone possible because doctrine permits it. Because there has to be difference between necessary killing and possible killing. Because duty that demands everything leaves nothing. Yes, I'd make it again. Chan nods, understanding that command is personal, even when it's professional. That how we fight matters as much as whether we win. That this is what's left when you stand between threats and cities. We stand together watching Hawaii grow closer. Officers who chose submarine service, who understood defending sometimes requires killing, but also understood killing isn't always required, who learned that resistance matters, but restraint matters too, who carry weight but don't let weight break what makes carrying worthwhile. Pearl Harbor ahead, repairs waiting, rest coming. Brief pause before continuing. The ocean behind us holds 3 submarines, 3 crews, 210 to 270 names. The weight that's mine, the burden that persists. The ocean behind us released 1 submarine, 1 crew, 70 to 90 people who live. The mercy that's also mine. Both matter.
Both are true. Both define what happened. Both are what I carry. The war continues. Houston rebuilds. Emma decides. Duty persists. Weight accumulates, but doesn't overwhelm. Resistance matters. Mercy matters too. Fighting changes outcomes. Restraint changes us. And I endure. Because someone has to. Because the alternative is worse. Because 3 submarines stopped means Honolulu stands. Because 1 submarine spared means I'm still human. Because both are necessary. Because this is what's left when you fight without losing yourself completely. Because carrying weight is bearable when weight includes mercy. Because that has to be enough. Because it is enough. Because I'm still here. Still fighting. Still human. Still carrying, still resisting, still choosing, still me.